Hello everyone and welcome to a very nice game from the tiebreakers of the Champions Showdown. After the final round, after 9 rounds, Alireza and Fabi were tied for first place and they went into tiebreaks. So the tiebreaks are consisted of 2 rapid games, but not 20 minutes like the usual games are. They were in fact 10 minutes per player plus a 2 seconds increment. And then only if those 2 games are tied, they go into a Blitz Armageddon game. So this is the first game of the rapid tiebreaks. Let's check it out, and there is a very important announcement after we check out the game, so don't leave before you hear that. It concerns the stream we'll be having today. It's a charity stream with the Gift of Chess Foundation, but I will talk a bit more about that after we check out the game. So Alireza has the white pieces and he opens with pawn to b4, a great choice in pretty much any position. We have knight to g6 by Fabi, knight to f3, and then now pawn to f6. He wants to counter the queen, so f6 e5 makes sense. We have e4 and pawn to e5. We have c4 by Alireza, and now Fabi realizes that this could be weakening the white king a bit too much, and he immediately plays a5. He wants to open up the position and attack the white king. The queen will open, maybe the rook can open, the bishops are very nicely placed, so it's a really weird position right from the beginning. And some of you asked what's the evaluation of the starting position in chess 960? Well, it pretty much differs from game to game, but let's say for this position it's a 0.5 for white, which is pretty normal, like in a standard position, so nothing spectacular. We have b5. Of course, Alireza doesn't want to open up the a file for Fabi's queen, and now bishop to c5. You could also consider bishop to a3 check. It seems like a very annoying move, but obviously Fabi decided that there was no need for that. So bishop c5. We have d4 by Alireza, captures, and now knight to d6. We have pawn to f3, now opening up the dark square bishop, and the bishop to f7. We have queen to c3. No longer is a bishop to a3 now possible, as the queen covers that square. We have castles, and this castles really shows how you really have to pay attention in chess 960, because here it seems like, okay, if the position opens up, the white king will be vulnerable, but also the black king isn't really enjoying his time on c8. But here, just kingside castles. It's possible. There's nothing in between, and there's nothing where the king and rook will land. So in chess 960, this makes for a possible castles. And if Alireza wants to do this, well, he still has to move a lot of pieces here. Okay, the knight doesn't have to move, but the bishops do have to move. So here, king to b2. Alireza says he will castle artificially here on the queen side. Knight to e5 by Fabi, and king to a1. And okay, the king does look fairly safe there. We have bishop to b4 attacking the queen, and queen to c1. And here we have knight e captures on c4. Fabi just grabs the pawn. But it's important to play this knight captures. If you play this knight captures, then f4 is very annoying, and then the knight just is undefended. So after queen c1, knight e captures on c4 is played, and now bishop captures on bishop captures on c4, knight captures on c4, and now knight to f5. A most annoying piece, no doubt. So pawn to d5, and now bishop to d4. Alireza putting a lot of pressure on Fabi's king side, but he also has problems of his own. So bishop to g6, and now knight h to g3. We have rook b to e8, and now pawn to h4, preparing pawn to h5. So here we have queen to c8, and here Fabi allows a very, very neat trick for Alireza to play. If Fabi wants, he should just start with c5 and bust open the queen side right away, but he first prepares it, and now he gives Alireza the chance, or rather the time, to go for this knight captures on g7 move. It makes sense, as the bishop is in this diagonal, the queen can come to g5, then very, very hard to deal with. So okay, Fabi plays king captures on g7, pawn to h5 now. And what do you do here? If you try to save the bishop, let's say bishop to f7, then just queen g5 check, and the black resigns. After bishop captures on f6, that's it. Of course, you cannot capture, the pawn is pinned, so this is resigns. So after this h5 move, we have knight to e5 by Fabi. Again, c5 is a little bit better. You don't want to waste any time on the king side, but there isn't all that much time for them to think, so they have to play. Knight e5, we have h captures, and now pawn to to f4, kicking away Fabi's knight, knight to g4, and now pawn to e5. Interestingly, pawn to f5 is winning right away for Alireza, whereas pawn to e5 is... well, it does look like the move you want to play, but it's actually this move that should be played. Again, g5 is impossible because queen captures on g5, and there just aren't that many good moves. If knight e5, then just captures on g6, it's looking very, very bad for black. Knight can now come to f5 to h5. It just looks bad. But okay, here Alireza played e5, and now we have finally pawn to c5. Fabi says, I have to stop worrying about the king side, it's time to open up the queen side. B captures on c6, en passant, queen captures, and now e captures on f6 with check. We have king to f7, of course you're not going to capture and allow this bishop to come alive. Although, I mean, you could, but, well... they are humans after all. So king f7 and now queen to b2. Alireza declines the queen trade, and he still wants to push for more than a draw here. We have knight to e3 by Fabi, saying that okay, if you capture, you lose a very, very strong piece, and also I will activate my rook. So rook d to c1, attacking the queen here, and now knight c4, attacking the white queen. We have queen to f2, avoiding the queen trade, and now rook to h8. We have rook to h1, opposing the rook, and now knight to a3. Attacking the rook, but really going for this knight to c2 check. This would just be devastating if it happened. So rook h back to c1, and now knight back to c4. And here, Alireza not interested in a repetition. He goes queen to f3. So what do you play here? Well, rook to h4, very nicely played by Fabi. We have knight to f1, knight to e2 is the way to go. Knight to f1 is a nice attempt, but if rook to e4, then it all just falls apart. But again, not enough time. Queen to d7 by Fabi, and now we have pawn to g3. Defending f4, also attacking the rook here. So rook h3, and now rook to d1. We have rook back to c8, queen to g2 now, putting pressure on the rook, and the rook back to h8. We have knight to h2, and now knight back to a3, again going for knight to c2 check. So here, knight to f3, threatening knight to e5 check, which would of course win the queen on d7, but here just knight to c2 check. And here the real question is, what would you play here? There are only two moves possible in the position, one of them being king to b2, and the other one being queen captures on c2. And now that, of course, I've mentioned this, you guys are of course, interested in playing queen captures on c2, and not maybe because you've calculated everything, but just because it looks much cooler. And this definitely would be the case. If queen captures on c2, rook captures on c2, you then win your queen back, knight to e5 with check, let's say king e7, knight captures, king captures, and let's say f7 attacks the rook, rook moves, rook to f8, and now there are many ways to play this, but basically it's a very long forced draw. a3, or you want to open up the b file, bishop captures on a3, rook captures on b7, king, or rather rook to c7, even better, rook to b5 going after the pawn here, bishop to b4, with bishop to b4, just defending the a5 pawn, and now bishop to e5, attacking the rook here, also adding more firepower to this d5 pawn, bishop c3 check, forcing a trade of bishops, captures, now you're going to capture on d5, and after, let's say, king to c6, just rook captures on a5, and rook captures on g3, and you get this position where, okay, Alireza is up a pawn, but it's a doubled f pawn, and it's just a draw. However, after this knight to c2 check, Alireza did not play what, of course, all of you guys wanted to play. He played king to b2, and now he just allows Fabi a very nice finishing move, which is very odd, as this is not the only winning move. Pretty much all the moves are winning for Fabi, like queen to b5 is winning, queen to a4 is winning, but bishop to a3 is just mating too. So of course this is what Fabi played, and he was in this position on move 37 that Alireza Firuza resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Once king b3 is played, queen to b5 will be checkmate, and that is of course it. So even though Alireza was leading the entire tournament, and this was supposed to be his third third win in St. Louis. Fabi says, nope, not going to happen. But even though he wins the first game, Alireza retaliates in the second game of the tie breaks, and they go into Armageddon, where after a very, very long and tedious grind, Fabi was able to convert his extra pawn into a win, but after like 100 moves were played. So it was quite a brutal game, and in the end, Fabi was victorious, and Fabi is the winner of the Champions Showdown Chess 960 championship. So big congratulations to Fabi, but also huge congratulations to Alireza, who almost won all the events here in St. Louis. So it was truly spectacular to watch all of them play. Hope to see more of it soon. And well, now we turn on to other events. But yeah, I'm also very interested in. I've seen some comments in the chat regarding Chess 960. Do you enjoy it? Do you don't enjoy it? Do you really need opening theory to enjoy chess, or can you just give me a position and I want to see some moves being played? What are your thoughts about that? Also. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I will be hosting a charity stream for the Gift of Chess Foundation. So if you guys wanna learn more, it will be today at 8 p.m. Central European Time. Maybe not exactly, but 8-ish. We're gonna have a Lead Chess tournament. We're gonna have some guests over. We're gonna discuss it. You guys will be able to ask questions in the chat. We're gonna show some nice photos. There will be a promotional video that you guys can enjoy. So basically, we're going to be talking about the education of youth in New York, also the contributing to some African countries regarding chess sets. For example, they've already contributed to Nigeria, to Uganda, to Kenya, and they are planning to do even 3 more countries, and that's only for the beginning. They're also trying to get more chess sets and education into prisons. So there is quite a lot. There will be a fundraiser, so if you guys want, you will also be able to contribute to this goal. But I will put a link in the description of this video. It will be the first thing you will see if you guys want to contribute right away. But as there will be a stream where you guys will be able to hear everything and enjoy, maybe even asking a few questions, you can also do it then if you feel that is something that you would enjoy doing. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and this is a very short coverage of the Champions Showdown. If you have any other game that you particularly enjoyed, feel free to use hashtag suggestion. I will look into it, but if not, we are definitely returning to normal chess. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope to see you in the stream today. And I would like to thank Paul Sertanovic, Jose Palacio, Filippo Palacio, Isu Papa in Panama, Matthew Garner, and Luke Longbone for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.